All right, let's talk about Amazon Bedrock agents. We're going to take them from being these mysterious black boxes and turn them into something totally transparent, a glass box you can actually monitor, debug, and make so much better. You know the feeling, right? When your AI agent is just working? It's awesome, feels like magic. But then it fails, and suddenly you're just staring at this black box, totally clueless about what went wrong inside. It's super frustrating. So, how do we fix this? Well, the answer is a really powerful concept called observability. Seriously, think of it as the key that cracks open that black box. It gives us the power to see what's going on inside just by looking at what comes out. And we do that through the three main pillars: logs, metrics, and traces. Okay, so where do we even start? The whole journey kicks off with one single foundational step. You absolutely have to do this first before you can collect any of that juicy data. So here it is. It's a really simple one-time setup. The very first thing you've got to do is enable Amazon CloudWatch Transaction Search. This is basically you flipping the big on switch. It tells CloudWatch, hey, get ready because I'm about to send you a whole bunch of trace data and I need you to be able to process and search through it. And you've got a couple of ways to do this. Path number one, the easy peasy visual route. Just a few clicks in the AWS Management Console and you're done. Path number two is for all you automation fans out there. If you live and breathe infrastructure as code, you can just use the AWS API or CLI to script the whole thing. And honestly, if you go with the console, it's ridiculously simple. We're talking 4 quick clicks. You just navigate to Transaction Search, hit Enable, check one little box, super important for ingesting the data right, and then save. Bam! That's it. Your foundation is set. Okay, foundation is laid. CloudWatch has its ears on, it's ready to listen. So what's next? Well, now we have to actually tell your agent's code to start talking, to start sending all that data. Now, this next part is maybe the most important decision you're going to make in this whole process. It all boils down to one simple question. Where is your agent code actually running? Are you using the managed AgentCore environment, or are you doing it yourself, on a container or an EC2 instance? Because the path forward really splits here. Okay, so if you're inside AgentCore, life is good. The process is super streamlined. All you have to do is add the AWS distro for OpenTelemetry, you'll hear it called ADOT, to your dependencies. Then you just wrap your agent's execution command with this one little command, OpenTelemetry instrument, and poof, it handles all the auto instrumentation for you. It really is kind of magical. All right, now what if you're hosting your agent externally? It's a little more hands-on, a bit more manual, but totally manageable. You're still going to add that ADOT library, but the key difference is you also need to set a few environment variables, and these are absolutely crucial. They're like the mailing address for your data, telling the SDK exactly where to send everything, like which log groups to use and what you want to call your service. Okay, we're making great progress. Your agent's code is instrumented, data is flowing. Awesome. But that's only half the story. To get the complete picture, we need to do one more thing. We have to tell the individual pieces of AgentCore to send their logs to. Yeah, it's so easy to forget that an agent isn't just one single thing, right? It's made up of all these different parts. You've got its memory, like knowledge bases. You've got API gateways, built-in tools. And by default, none of these know where to send their logs. So we've got to go in and tell each one of them, one by one. The good news is it's super straightforward in the console. Let's say you want to configure the logs for your agent's memory, its knowledge base. You just pop over to its configuration page, look for the log delivery section, and add a destination. And you've got choices. You can send it to CloudWatch logs, an S3 bucket, or even a Kinesis Firehose stream. Now listen up, because this next bit is so important and easy to miss. After you set up the logs, you're not quite done. Right there in the same spot in the console, there's a little toggle switch for tracing. You have to flip that switch. That's the key to getting that beautiful, complete, end-to-end view of everything your agent is doing. All right, now we're getting to the really cool next level stuff. We've got all this data flowing, which is great, but what if we could make it even richer? We can, by using custom headers when we call our agent's API. Here's how it works. When you call your agent, you can include some special HTTP headers. There's the X-Amzn-Trace-Id and the standard traceparent header. These are amazing because they stitch everything together, letting you follow a single request as it jumps across your whole system. But my favorite is the baggage header. This thing lets you attach your own custom data, like a user ID, and it will literally travel with that request everywhere it goes. How cool is that? And there you have it. You are now officially equipped to shatter that black box and turn it into a crystal clear glass box. So, to wrap things up, let's just quickly go over a few best practices to make sure you get the absolute most out of this awesome new power. I want you to think of these as your new observability hobbits. First, always use consistent session IDs. This lets you see a user's entire journey. Second, really embrace distributed tracing. It's your superpower now. Third, add custom attributes to your traces, stuff that actually means something to your business. And finally, and this one is huge, set up CloudWatch alarms. This is what takes you from, oh no, it's broken, to, I see a potential problem and I can fix it before anyone even notices. That's the game changer. Oh, and one last pro tip before we go. What if you're already using something like Datadog or New Relic? No problem at all. AgentCore plays nicely with others. All you do is set one little environment variable, disable AOT observability equals true, and that tells the default AWS setup to step aside and lets your own tools take over. Super flexible. And that's pretty much the whole shebang. You now have full visibility. You can see your agent's performance, you can see how it's making decisions, and you can pinpoint exactly where things go wrong. You're not just an operator fumbling in the dark anymore. You're an architect. You're empowered to build AI systems that are smarter, faster, and way more reliable. So the only question left is, now that you can see inside the box, what are you going to build next?